Hello, friends. Welcome back to the tavern. I am your wonderful host and barkeep. And tonight we have a new adventurer coming to join us. Tonight we have Wayne from Adventure Away. Now, Wayne, if you're wondering what Adventure Away it is, not jumping on a boat and flying away. It doesn't work like that. But I'm going to give Wayne a couple seconds to tell us exactly what this thing is all about. And then, of course, we're going to dive into our adventure. However, before we do anything, let me fill in a few things that we need to catch up on. First off, of course, our wonderful sponsors, GUI Cube, who does all of our setting stuff for our Sunday night game. And special thank you and shout out to Brina Luna, who is our wonderful artist. If you've never seen a show like this, we have an artist who takes these amazing guests and puts artwork to them each and every week, and she is a charm and a wonderful person to work with. Please go check her out. And then, of course, our special guest, Adventures Away. So, Wayne, tell us what this is all about.
Hello, certainly. I'm with Adventure Away in Frederick, Maryland, and we're the first D&D bed and breakfast, a tabletop role-playing retreat. You can come as yourself with a significant other or a whole crew of adventurers up to 8 to play up to 10 hours of Dungeons & Dragons with us over a weekend in Frederick, Maryland. We provide all your food, your snacks, and the Dungeon Master, so all you have to do is bring your character sheet and your dice and have an adventure away.
Wow, that sounds fantastic. And if anybody wants to join me, let me know, because we will set a group together and let's go do this. And better yet, if you want me to game master it while we're there, I just need somebody to take care of the food and drinks, because that's the part I'll forget. So, shall we begin our adventure, friends? Welcome, Jess. Welcome, heroes. It's a wonderful night. I'm excited, and I wonder what kind of character we've got tonight coming to the inn. For our friends who are first to ever seen the show, or will see this later on in life, the way this works is everybody starts where they start. It's their own world, it's their own adventure. This is their story that they're telling. I'm just simply here to be the barkeep, to listen, and to learn a little bit. So, where we're going to start is, where, Wayne? Where are we starting?
Well, you see a scene in the fog, and a forest goes off in each direction, and it is an evening hour, and there's a somewhat short tiefling covered in hood and rags with a basket full of mushrooms and a staff. And she walks through the mist looking at different types of mushrooms and plucking them, but notices some that are of odd colors. And she suddenly becomes concerned and looks for the nearest feature and finds a small building with an open door and sounds coming from within. She approaches curiously.
And as she gets closer, she realizes that those sounds are a slight hum from what sounds like a broken, well, I wouldn't say broken, but somewhat mis-centered record player that's playing off in the distance. And as you walk in, you aren't greeted by a shabbled home, yet a quaint inn, lanterns floating in the sky, in the air, tables out right, about 6 different tables placed out on the flooring of the inn. However, nobody's in here. You hear from the back room, "Oh, I'll be there 1 minute." And coming from behind a set of swaying double doors, while up front, or way far in the back rather, is a long oak table. And on the table is 3 glasses sitting on top. And this burly, over the top dwarven fellow pops out of throws open the doors, tosses the towel over his shoulder, walks up and says, "Oh, hello. Wonderful. Didn't know we had guests."
Oh, well, hello. Thank you for letting this old woman come in from out of the fog. I hope I'm not intruding.
"Oh, no. If you're here, there's a reason. And I'm here to find out what it is." Well. "So, my new friendly traveler, what's your name?"
"Ah, my name is Billy."
"Billy. Beautiful name.
Thank
you. And
you.
what would bring you into well, before we go anywhere, let me inform you that you're somewhere that you probably did not expect to be. You're in the Mythweaver's Respite. Your coin, or whatever currency your world uses, is no mean tier. Everything is bought with a story. Everything costs a tale. So if you'd like a drink, a bite to eat, a room for the evening rather, it all costs a story. And depending on your story, depends on what you've earned. So, what brings you to a place like this?"
Well, I can't say it's the strangest currency I've ever heard of. Back in Avernus, they used to trade in goat horns. I mean, come on, be original. But no, fair enough question. You see, I hunt mushrooms. I'm a brewer. I make mushroom coffee. I look for different varieties, and it has brought me to these woods. It is no wonder that this place is strange and magical. I see that the mushrooms, they react to the magic here. I feel this is already a story to me, a new one.
What brought you deep into the woods? Why are you venturing out looking for mushrooms, specifically in this area?
Well, you see, I've left my home. I was looking to make a new life. I didn't like things there. So I decided to start off here in the, material plane. Well, at least where I was before I walked through that door, I suppose.
Oh, it's nothing. Don't worry about it.
You see, I dream of opening a coffee cart in Neverwinter. Be in the streets and listen to the children running and the tired parents behind it are looking for a cup of coffee.
Looking for a cup of coffee.
Yes,
I don't know much about coffee. I pour it every morning, but really I don't drink more than a cup.
You don't need to drink the beans to get the energy. That's things in the ground like roots and fungus. I try to be a pioneer.
Well, I'd be curious to hear more of this. And what got you into the idea of brewing mushrooms? Not really something you'd think of brewing for coffee.
I suppose I've always been trying to do things the hard way in my life. Parents wanted me to grow up, get into torture and lawfulness and becoming like a baron of the fire plane, that sort of thing. I just wasn't into it. I'm just trying to find my own thing.
Interesting. And where do you think this is going to take you after you find your mushrooms and you start in Neverwinter?
Well, I suppose I would maybe pay back my uncle. I left Avernus for a reason. You see, my dumb cousin, Tobias, he had this metal fusion band he was so into, all talking about prog songs and how... I don't know why he can't just play regular music, but I sort of lent him money that wasn't really mine, and, well, I'm afraid to go back home until I've made a fortune enough to set things right.
You ventured off into by yourself. Now you're looking for a way to make a new name and to clean up an old one.
Yes, sort of. I've made some new friends here. I met this high elf wizard. She's so confident, so cocky, but you. I guess I know one when I see one, because maybe that is me too. I'm just saying.
So while we're talking, and this conversation banters back and forth. Now, because my brain completely slips very easily when stories are being told in character, can you give the character's name again?
Izzy Billy.
Izzy Billy. And what is Izzy Billy?
Izzy Billy is a 5'8" tiefling with a pale skin tone that almost hues between yellow and amber. And she's a druid, and a druid of the spores. So naturally has affinity for plants and can call to nature and use it to her advantage to protect herself and other people, which is an exception amongst her family, who are not druidic and more nefarious in their alignments.
Yeah, it sounded like we were going to dive into some family trouble there for a moment. So we'll probably come back to that, and it's fine.
Cool.
So a druid of the spores, and how long has Izzy Billy been in the material plane?
I'm thinking about like a year and a half.
Okay, so
it's kind of like they've just gotten past the first shock of being on kind of like a walkabout, a young journey into finding themselves away from home.
Right. And is this something that you expect to be her direct path, or is this something that kind of is going to veer off as she grows?
I think that her character in practice was developed over 3 sessions and started simple and mostly on her goals of immediate attainment of fortune and what that means to her. But since it's the family, and there's one part of her backstory that was sort of generated that said that she had cheated someone in business, and so this relationship with her uncle kind of also spun from an improv moment where she talked about her cousin that was into this like different kind of music that he was sort of doomed to no success, and she was trying to like help him out, but that eventually got her in trouble. So this is, I think it's, the story is weaving, and it's still very much in like the call to action part of her story.
Nice. Yeah, no, that's exactly what it sounds like. It sounds like you're entering into this, you're entering into the tavern at a time before you've really been pushed to do anything heavy with the character, right? Which is fine, because a lot of the players and a lot of the people that watch the show are brand new players, and these are good things to think about when building characters. Giving somebody a humble background, a humble beginning, rather, is a great way to start a character, especially a character that maybe you haven't fleshed fully out yet, but getting those super simple bearings to connect with.
I do have a couple of like moments that I'm recalling, so it's not an empty well on development. I could probably pull about 2 stories out so far.
I know you're fine.
Yeah.
So I don't really know. Do you drink?
Oh yes, sure. In fact, there's a lot of microbiome buildup is to allow you to enjoy the finer things in life and have a happy tummy.
Let me pour you one for the tale you've already told. And he leans down underneath underneath the bar and pours a cup of ale and slides it over to you and hands it off.
Thank you, sir.
Of course.
That is a welcome imbibement. I've been parched. I didn't even notice.
It's kind of something that you'll feel when you walk through the threshold.
It has a warming quality.
So I have to ask, most people come here when their minds are floating and they have questions. And I am here as just a humble barkeep and listener. So what tales are you holding?
There is a knowledge that I have a curiosity about. Something happened recently. I was on the job contract. It's meant to make enough gold to make a little cart, set up a little brewing station. I could get a couple of horses, drag it around from town to town, start making a name. Job was just for 5,000 gold, but somehow we talked them up to 10. Should have been more than that, though. You see, we mixed it up with the fire element. I'm not too happy about it. And when we defeated it, it transcended its plane. This plane became something different. It possessed its brothers. It's a strange family. I can relate to this. Had a water elemental brother, a rock elemental brother, an air elemental brother. None of them got along. And then they got to fighting in the midst of this. We needed an orb that belonged to them to rescue a sick mentor back home. They begged us to please bring back their master, and we could have done it. We did do it, but something happened first. You see, the fire elemental took over my body. I couldn't move it. They took over my mouth. They chained up my mind. I was a prison with them, and I begged to let them give me my body back, and I'll serve you. But they did not submit. I don't want this again. I seek the power to commune with someone else, some other entity that can protect me. I don't want that to ever happen again.
So you gave up your freedom for protection.
Perhaps if it was something I could trust and know that if I gave it over myself, then it wouldn't make me do the things that thing made me do to my friends. Never again. I don't care about myself. Moment,
it weighs on you deeply.
I hurt people. I can't. It can't happen.
We've all had our fair share. Hurting people is sometimes part of life. Not a good part, but a part. And it sounds that you've taken this much better than so.
I am fortunate that the people that I know, the people that saw me in that state, that they've forgiven me. I just don't know if I've forgiven myself.
Well, from somebody who's been down that road many times, I do say that it comes in time. It takes a little bit of self-reflection, but soon it'll feel like just another tale.
It would be dangerous for me to seek this power just to close an old wound. I could make the same mistake again and trust the wrong one. Maybe forgiving myself is better than seeking power. Although my uncle would laugh at me, he would say, you seek power so that you can be strong. If you don't, you're weak. Well, my uncle.
Tell us more. Tell me more about your uncle. Seems like a man who has held you down quite a bit.
I mean, he was the grand executioner. You're born into a family like that, you're in the family business, And I saw his son. You know, Tobias didn't ever really want to go into his father's business. He wanted to create something. And yeah, he's a terrible musician. I get it. But he deserves a shot to get out. I deserved the shot to get out. I tried to rescue him first, though. But I ended up leaving him behind.
I don't normally say this, but your story sounds very similar to one of a friend of mine.
Do tell.
We were deep into a cave. I was looking for a helmet to prove myself as a paladin of a god that I didn't really understand. I've never been a paladin, never was a paladin, but I figured this would help. When we reached those temple gates and we walked in, there was a sword of obsidian black sitting in the distance. A friend of mine, a monk, who I thought would never be broken mentally, touched that sword and then cut down 3 of my friends. And as he did, he woke up something deep within that dungeon. Something with tremendous amounts of eyes. Some call it a beholder, but what I saw was no beholder. Its bone was as clean as it could be. Its eyes were all purple. It floated with a cackling laugh.
Terrifying.
I tell you this because people, items, things of this world that are much stronger than either of us are out there, and sometimes we can't control it. When he picked up that sword, his power grew tremendously. He struck that tyrant down with one blow, but his lust was not over. And then he vanished.
I cannot imagine seeing this. My sympathies go to you.
And he turns around, and on the wall there's 2 things. And there's a head of an adult red dragon pieced to a trophy. And there's an axe with strange runic symbols on it, and a hilt that is clean, pristine. And then above it, you didn't notice it at first, a pure silver helmet sits on a small rack, wings striking from both sides. And underneath, it says, the unforgiving tale.
It seems that those that have caused so much damage do not plague this plane any longer.
Where he went and where we had to find him was far from the material plane. But I was broken.
Sometimes when we're broken, the best thing we can do is try to help someone else. And we can pick up our own pieces after.
And that's why I opened this. The Mythweaver's Respite is a place where anyone can come tell a tale and hopefully find a little peace in it. I swore to it that when I lost him, one of my best friends, that I would open this place. And when I did, something happened. I don't know what. But now, I don't ask for people to come here. I don't expect it. But when they show up on my doorstep, I always listen.
You know your friend. You may not see them anymore with your eyes. Magic like this, though, it's made from very powerful bonds. I think your friend is close. I think your friend is with you all.
They all are. And now you are as well. And as he says that, you notice something that you didn't notice at first. Writing on the walls from top to bottom, from the sides, anywhere there's woodwork, there's writing in it.
Incredible. They're all stories.
Every last one.
So I get to put mine up on the wall, like right there, or there.
It will find its place. I don't place it there. Whatever this place is, I'm only the facilitator, the keeper.
You're good at your job.
I appreciate that.
Will it
Let
be
me
too
give
much
you
trouble?
something to help, as many others have helped me. And as he does, he pulls out an olive green bottle, places it on the counter, places 2 small glasses. It's been months since I've needed to take this.
I see you've been to the Fey Realm.
Many times. And he pours 2 small glasses of completely crystal clear liquid into it. This is a peace offering. Something that another friend of mine, a druid much like yourself, gave me when they were in the Fey Realm. It never empties. I don't know why. I've tried. Trust me, I've tried.
I bet that morning was not the good one after.
It was not. And I warn you, when you drink this, you will feel some peace. But that can be dangerous.
I could use a little danger.
And he slides a glass to you.
Thank you very much.
As you take it, right before you do, the name of your friends, the ones that you cut down, what were they?
Igwiv and Rupert.
And before you take the sip, you see in a crystalline writing in calligraphic manner, those show up in the water itself, in the liquid itself, and then immediately vanish as you take the shot. And as you do, a sense of peace does come over you.
I know now what I need. Not power. Healing. That is my job. Thank you.
Gives you a nod. I am nearly the keeper of this place. And you were somebody that needed an ear.
Well, do you keep the latrine? Is there like a key?
Right around the corner.
Thank you. You know, it goes right through me. And she goes, takes a moment, comes back up.
Well, my friend, it seems it's time for you to return to your world, your place,
Yes.
and make some decisions. And I worry. I don't worry. I expect you'll make them a little different now. Think a little different. And maybe stand up to your uncle and get your cousin away from that horrific lifestyle that he's probably destined to do.
Yeah, he can play his terrible music in my coffee shop.
I'm sure he will. And with that, he doesn't say another word. He raises his hand, he grabs his towel, and he walks back through the kitchen doors.
And Izzy Billy returns to the forest.
And as she does, he steps through the threshold of the doorway. She once again standing in the forest, takes a glance back, but this time the abandoned shack sits there, quiet, dormant, run down, beaten by the elements, and dark. And a moment sits in that you're unsure if this was truly something that you had seen or not. But once again, an adventurer has been touched by the Mythweaver's respite and the unknown innkeeper that sits within. And this is where our tale will end for the evening. All right. So, this moment, we take about 5 minutes at this point where you as the audience have the opportunity to ask questions about Izzy Billy. You can ask anything. You can find out any sort of thing you might want to know. Or maybe, if that's not the case, maybe it's something you're curious about on how to create characters. Character building is such a fun process, and when doing so with your game master, it can be an absolute joy to weave the tale together. So definitely come throw your questions out there. And while that's happening, though, I am going to let Wayne kind of give us a little bit more of a background on what Adventures Away is. So, Wayne, this is your time to shine. Tell us all about this amazing Airbnb bed and breakfast Dungeons and Dragons experience. Let's dive in this.
Absolutely, yeah. We're a small business that's family owned in Frederick, Maryland, and we're in our 5th year of business. We started in 2018, and it was all on an idea of a gaming vacation. Just right sized to fit into your calendar during any season that you can find time to come out with us. And it all started from our own vacations. We went to Virginia a couple of times to just go to bed and breakfast down there, and they would have activities. Sometimes it would be like a wine tasting or a charcuterie board, and that was fun. We did the wine tastings, but we also brought like the Nintendo Wii, and we had Magic the Gathering cards, and we were self-programming the activities that we would like on our vacation. And it just kind of seemed like an interesting cross-section of our talents, with her as a nonprofit arts management major and musical theater major, and my experience as a dungeon master and with a bachelor's degree in game design, that we would fuse these and create a vacation, the first Dungeons and Dragons bed and breakfast, where we will work with a partner location and set up a game of up to 8 players. And we do it in 2 formats. One where you can book an individual room. So maybe you and your significant other are having an anniversary, or you and a friend want to go out and hang out because you haven't seen each other since college, whatever. Then you'd meet up with another group of 4 to 6 other players for a game of D&D for the weekend. The other format is where you have a whole group of 6 to 8 players, and you book the place and we quote you for your entire group. Either way, you get 2 nights overnight stay. You come to visit us in Frederick, Maryland. We're close to BWI and Dulles if you're out of the state. And try to arrive around 6 o'clock on Friday night. You'll stay till Sunday. So you get your dinner and lunches catered and continental breakfast. So all your snacks and food are taken care of there. And we have a dungeon master for you. I'm our first dungeon master, but we have 3 now. So we host a variety of different types of games, mostly based on the 5th edition rules. And the game will last about 10 hours total over the course of your weekend. So we have some time on Friday night to play sort of like a small semi-session 0. Though we open up a Discord in the weeks prior after your booking so that you can ask us questions, DM your DM, things about character creation, like starting level. We do point buy or standard array. We usually run level 3 or level 5 characters, and we let you make your own, but occasionally someone will be like, I'm a first-time player. If you want to generate something for me, then we'll do that. But either way, people should have a character sheet and be like ready to join the game on Friday evening, and we start playing right then. And awesome. We do 2 big blocks on Saturday to finish the game out. So one starts right before lunch and goes through lunch, and then there's a 2-hour gap to like play Switch, take a nap, whatever, go for a walk, touch grass. And then we start up again and go 4 to 10 o'clock and finish out the story. So, you know, it's a fair amount of D&D for a small period of time. It may not be as much as you get at like Gen Con, but it's also for all levels and skill ranges, and it's meant to be a vacation, so it's a bit more casual. And we try to take a lot of the worries of planning and getting your group together and getting food and figuring out where to go off the plate way that we're, you know, catering to you. And
yeah, no,
that's our thing.
That's awesome. I mean, first off, more power to you to do it in 2018 after the whole pandemic craziness that happened. So props that it stayed after that, because, you know, we saw a lot of hospitality and businesses like that take a huge hit during that moment, and you guys are still kicking, which is amazing. Got a couple questions before we dive back into this for Izzy Billy. How far did you think this character out before the show?
I thought this character out for about a week because I created it for my son's Dungeons and Dragons campaign. He nice. Is 9 years old, and with parental guidance, we brought him to see the movie. So aside
I just took my 8-year-old too. It was perfectly fine. It was, in all honesty, it was very, very PG-13 at minimum, like at maximum.
Yeah, it's just that they said like SHIT a bunch, and I just said like, okay, so in Dungeons and Dragons, your plans don't go right, and everybody like it's just frustrating in the moment.
It's just frustrating, and we all get mad at it.
That didn't work.
Yeah.
You know. So
my 8-year-old plays too. We're actually trying to get a full kids game together. We haven't gotten it done. So
tough.
It is.
So I actually used one of the free character generator websites just because we were in the middle of Easter vacation, and my wife and I were going to make new characters. So we just like hit a randomizer button and got to she got a wizard, I got a druid. And, you know, it's just about the way that the character was put together through the generator gave me enough prompts, you know, like their nice. Flaw that she has this debt from a bad business deal, right. And that she's a spore druid, but she's also a tiefling. So her background's conflicted. It's like she's trying to grow out of where she was into something different. So yeah, it's just kind of an example of how a character prompt can form an idea to you, and you just yes and into the next layer of the character.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. Like you said, there was a lot of depth to the character, even if it's very new character. It's not like you've been playing the character for years and years, so you don't have that depth on that perspective. But pulling those prompts and being able to dive into those, that was wonderful. Second question, I missed it. Where'd it go? When did you know to divert from your original story and then the actual play? Usually that comes with accents. I don't know if it was talking to you or me on that one, but yeah.
Yeah, I think, well, are we talking about the switching context from like describing myself or talking as my character?
Yeah, I think so, but I don't know if that was exactly both.
Yeah. I think that coming up with a character voice is helpful in trying to separate. Although when I run games, I tend to just do a blanket, virtual time, like a passage thing, that you're actually in this world, time is passing, you're reacting, you're talking. So even when like a small off the cuff comment might come out, we just roll with it and say like that's in the universe. It might not make sense if you say pass the Cheetos, but if you're reacting to, wow, that guard had a bad attitude, I mean, there's no reason that shouldn't be in universe. So we try to like stay anchored. But then, yeah, like picking a character voice does help. I always try to use classic comedy improv techniques, like choose high status, choose low status. Do they talk fast? Do they talk slow? Are they confident? And also just trying to learn how to express emotions in every state. So like it's really easy to pick up a bit of a temper when you're Scottish, because you just go out and you like rip through it, and and finding an anchor word like what something's going to bring you to that character. So anyway,
what can you dip into, sadness and sorrow or happiness with a Scot, which is a lot more difficult for most. And
I think that's authentic. If you're going to do an accent, you're going to pick a voice, pick something that you can already go through all the emotions and then go with it, and then inch your way into the more technical stuff, because if you go high technical too fast, you'll find you have this very narrow band of expression.
Oh no, I completely agree. Awesome. Well, like I said, I think those are the only questions I had. Can you get a link? The link is in the chat room. It's adventureawaymd.com. I'm already inviting myself to be a game master if a group needs to be done within our group. So I will admit, though, normally I run games through GUI Cube, and it'd be an honor to take a group of GUI Cube members up there to have you guys host them, take care of that, and then I'd be happy to just run the game for them. No issues. So yeah, thank you, Arclight Corp, for coming to hang out. I hope you enjoyed the chat so far. Now, what kind of adventures are we talking about here? Like, is everyone customized, or do you get kind of a like a template as you pick your area, your time?
It's been 5 years of research, and we have changed our minds many times. Like in the first 2 years, we were thinking about trying to meet people where they are in their everyday gaming group, and that meant that's
going to be rough.
Yeah, exactly. So we wanted to do 5e, but then we started entertaining Pathfinder and Pathfinder 2, which were both coming. Like Pathfinder 2 was just coming out around that time, and even like 3.5, and we did like go through some of the early motions but it became clear it's like, no, the Venn diagram is 5th edition, and that is a place where we can sit and comfortably support every kind of player. And so about halfway through we focused in, and it's now a bit of a mix of what kind of content you get to play. Each one of our DMs has custom material and universes that they specialize in. I have like 2 settings. Brian, our second hire dungeon master, has at least 2 settings of his own, and then Tasha, our newest dungeon master, has one as well. And we flip between taking off-the-shelf wizard stuff like the Curse of Strahd and Wild by the Witchlight and Strixhaven, and then the custom ones. So we have a little bit of each. And now we're diversifying again, because with the mix-up and shake-up of the D&D community and the OGL, that caused us to have a little bit of an evaluation, come back and say, like, what do we do if we decide that we want to not be too dependent on it? So the way we're doing that now is we're in our 2nd year of running Avatar: The Last Airbender from Magpie Games. We'll continue to do that, and we're doing both Powered by the Apocalypse and potentially Blades in the Dark as well. So we're going to support a couple of other original systems, and that's kind of a buffet of what you get with us and the games that we offer. And we try to, when we know what a theme is, we put it into the marketing, we put it into our first communication, so that you have an idea of the flavor and the setting and what you want to do with your character, and you're ready to go.
Hey, well, I have a question on this. do you have a favorite or least favorite? Okay. Do you have a favorite or least favorite group that you run at your establishment?
I would say that I have many favorites, and I don't engage in the least favoritism. I think of it as a professional service company that we're growing and improving. So we're always looking at the experience, both in what people resonate with and what grinds. And we can see the takeaways of how we can improve, and we've been improving each year. We run our company lean. So we're constantly trying to figure out how to both focus in on our goal and just do what we do better each time, and kind of cut the fat and not keep doing things that aren't working. So yeah, I honestly, like, I don't know. I had one group that we did a really custom off of 5th edition supplement to go into the modern world and play a game in the Marvel universe. And it was just after Doctor Strange had happened. And I wrote this whole original thing around Burkittsville, Maryland, and the Blair Witch, that the Blair Witch was actually a multi-planar traveler that came to this realm, and that it was an echo of this person who was a last survivor of a timeline of America where the British won with black magic. So that's the hook. And those players were really engaged, and they liked it, and they were doing superhero stuff, and they were investigating and driving cars around and like going through portals between planes. And
what system did you use for that?
It was, I think, the Capes and Crooks 5th edition supplement that is on DM's Guild.
Yep.
And it worked okay. I won't knock it as great or not, but it gave me a lot of profiles that are compatible with 5th edition. And they have this interesting class structure that replaces regular 5th edition classes, where it gives everybody a little bit of a kick at superpowers. So, it's worth taking a look at.
Definitely.
And if somebody else finds like a really good superhero 5th edition supplement, let me know.
I don't know of a 5th edition one. I know Masks is out there, which is a really good system I've heard for superheroes.
Yeah, I got that one.
Mutants and Masterminds, is that it?
Mm-hmm. I've heard of that too.
There's another one out there. So kind of to divvy off of this, so we don't say, what is your favorite and least group, rather than what has been your most enjoyable setting to play in an establishment like this, compared to what might be something that you will kind of go the other direction. And this is more so for people who are interested in saying, like, these are great in this type of atmosphere, these are not so good in this type of atmosphere.
I think that your sort of Fallout or Skyrim style dungeon crawl universe with a hex grid and static things that are waiting for you to stumble upon them and reveal the mystery are great for a home campaign, where you can just kind of slowly crunch through the elephant, taking it a little bit at a time. Although in this setting with a very clear timeline, those sort of adventures can accidentally kind of put you into a gutter where the players follow every Chekhov's gun clue, and there's lots of them, and they're all stitched into a woven campaign. So you can, to some extent, take some of these bigger settings and then snip them down. And that's where, like most of the games that I use, even if they're made to be big settings, I snip them down to a turbo adaptation, and I try to look at like the Campbellian hero cycle and the development of, challenges and rewards, and find a combination between a game that's completely on rails with no control and a game that is a wide sandbox with, now they have all the control and perhaps analysis paralysis.
Whitewater rafting. It's the way I call it. It's whitewater rafting. So, it gives the players enough chaos that they can go do things that they want to do, but not so much chaos that they don't have a direction in whatsoever. One of the guys in our audience has asked, one of the people, I don't know if they're guy or girl, apologies. Does your company accept indie TTRPGs sent to them to test out? And if so, what have you enjoyed seeing from indie designers?
So far, we have one arrangement that we've got coming up, and we got to speak with them at PAX. It was great connecting with them, and they are actually developing 2 original TTRPGs. So we've collaborated with them, and they're now officially going to be one of our first like collab guest DMs for an indie TTRPG where they'll run their system. And this game is coming up in September at the end of the month, right? Going to October 1st. And the system's called Necrobiotic, and it is a really wild looking, like cyberpunk sort of, it seems like there might be some android or cybernetic elements where, you know, you kind of maybe augment yourself, but I won't speak ahead of the system. I'm very excited to see how that game turns out.
It does sound like fun. This sounds like a wonderful place for GUI adventures. That's all I'm saying. You know, I'm just gonna keep plugging myself in to get to this thing. I'm telling you, this is what I do. So no, Wayne, it's been awesome to hear about this. I really hope that this continues to grow for you. I think it's awesome. I also love the fact that you're only like 3 hours away from me, which is fantastic. So I can come check it out whenever I want. Audience, thank you once again for an amazing evening of questions. Wayne, what an amazing character. I hope that you continue to play Isabelle and that your son continues to just dwell in that creative mindset, because it's such an awesome opportunity to teach the younger crowd, right? Like it's so much fun. And he's
running the game tomorrow. I gotta
awesome.
Pick my level 7 spells.
Wow, okay. And he's running it?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, my son's 8, and he's a little shy on that part yet. He gets 1 dice normally for everything, and then gets his weapon dice, and that's all we play with right now. But he enjoys it.
I highly recommend the monster cards level 1 to 5. That became the way to get him to unlock it.
Okay.
He wasn't going to sit and read the whole player's handbook, of course. It's a lot.
Have those in my box set.
I think if you just put them out and say, well, look at the pictures and what do you like? And then you can flip them over. And like our first game where we went into like a combat encounter, we got to like walk through each thing. And he's using his math brain and stuff. I think it might give him a little bit more to pay attention to in math class. I'll say that.
Okay. Awesome. No, hey, for all our parents out there, that's a good tip there. Monster cards are an extra way to benefit for stuff like that. I don't want to completely cut off. We've got about 10 minutes left. If anybody has any questions about the story, about the characters, about Adventures Away, make sure you guys are keeping an eye on the chat room, because their website has been popped up a couple times now. Go check them out. What are people looking at on average for pricing?
If you do go to our website, which I'll pull up so that I do not speak out of turn, you're paying about starting price $495 per person, and that gives you 2 nights overnight stay reservation, 2 dinners, lunch, and then 2 continental breakfasts. That covers all of your meals. There's additional snacks and non-alcoholic beverages, although we are BYOB, so feel free to bring your own. And we provide the Dungeon Master for you. The pricing can vary a bit. If you book a room for 2 gamers, that brings the price to $795, which actually drops it a little bit per person. So if you want to introduce your significant other to D&D, or you already play, this is a great way to take a little trip out for an anniversary or something. And then if you book an entire party for 6 to 8 players, we do a custom quote. So the pricing's a bit variable there. And we've had some games where we'll customize it a bit for extra stuff, like a birthday, or a little less if you're just looking to play Euro games or something, or you have your own campaign in Dungeon Master, which we do allow at times. So
awesome. Well, I think those are awesome. And not to mention, I'm just going to break this down for anybody who's thinking about doing this. The pricing of the hotel alone is about comparable, and that's without the 3 meals. So, I mean,
Get in now before it goes up.
Maryland, it's probably not a bad deal. But yeah, now you have two locations from what I'm noticing on the website, correct?
We partner with 2 main locations at the moment that we've done a lot of business with. Celadon.
Yep, which I was looking on the website and I don't see any pictures of that one.
It's a renovated
then you have an amazing. Then you have a castle that you play in, which is just awesome. So
yeah, and if you look at our Instagram and our TikTok, we do walkthroughs of both of the facilities, so you can see a bit more of it. The TikTok's great because we're idiots. We put our silly stuff up there, but we also try to put some actual footage and stuff of the location. And we do
better on that, but I'm horrible at TikTok. So, and
the castle is really the luxe, option. It has the most capacity, so it can host 8 players, and there's a fully audio engineered movie theater in the basement. So if you're night owls and you want to stay up and watch Star Wars after your session, you can go down and turn up the speakers.
The new I wouldn't say new, but Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, 20th edition.
Oh yes,
anniversary. Right after playing 9 hours of D&D.
The time may come.
I might fall asleep, sadly. I love that movie, and I would probably, after 9 hours of D&D, start that movie, and within the first hour, out.
Yep.
I'd be out cold. All right, question. What's something you're looking forward to growth-wise, something that you're building towards in your establishment?
We are looking forward to having a permanent establishment that can be available 24 hours a day. Right now, working with partner properties has given us a lot of flexibility, but it also kind of bloats our overhead, limits our commitments. And once we get there, that'll give us a lot more things that we can support, like drop-in game nights, karaoke, I don't know, Magic the Gathering. When you have a place, you can start to do a lot of things.
Right, when you have
that's
your own
where
place.
We are. Yep. So we're moving through where we are now, which is going to having 3 games a month, and we've been doing that all year. That is triple the capacity of 2 years before it and 6 times the first year. We've really expanded. So, we're kind of pushing against the edges of how much we can grow that way. So we may be doing some other things like online games or merch or a membership program. Stay tuned.
Awesome. Stay tuned, guys. This is the up and coming Airbnb D&D game session, especially on the East Coast. Suggestions for you, Wayne, because I talk to a lot of people. Reach out to Felon Fair. They're a costuming and theatrics setting, but they have their own place in South Carolina that I believe could host something like this as well. Awesome. So yeah, Airbnb. I've thought about the idea. I don't know how well it would go over all the time, and to find that group of people consistently would be expensive for me.
I gotta say, it's work. You start a business and you decide what you want to do, and if what you want to do is make money, then that's the first thing that happens. But if you are passionate, you're trying to create something in a space that doesn't exist, there really isn't a market for this. We're a company of artists. We're all trying to put something out into the world that wasn't there before. So you just push through it and you keep pushing what you can do. Yeah, and there's no secret sauce other than the hard work.
Yeah. And thankfully, like I said, it's weekend. So, I mean, sadly to say, most of us have daytime jobs. This isn't funding us completely. Hopefully one day it does. We all pray that those moments happen. But that's just how it is.
It's just the hustle culture. Yeah.
It really is. Speaking of the hustle culture, how can they find you, Wayne?
You can find us on our website, adventureawaymd.com. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Please subscribe to us on those channels, and you can see new weekends as they've been added. We sometimes do last-minute promotions when we're trying to move a room, so you can find a discount there. At the very least, see a lot of pictures of us running around in cosplay and showing you what it's like at Adventure Away, so you can get an expectation of what it'd be like to come out and see us. So
awesome. Well, Wayne, once again, it's been awesome to have you here. For people who are looking to find more information about us, we are Tabletop Misfits. I am the lead game master here, and you can find me on Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all those fun things at Tabletop Misfits. If you want to see any of our previous YouTube channels or this one, or YouTube, you can check us off on YouTube. Goodness gracious, I can't talk at the end of the night. And of course, if you would please kindly give us a follow or a subscribe, depending on where you're listening to this at. And yeah, come hang out with us on Discord. It's the best place to communicate with us and the cast. We're getting ready to launch a new show here in May. We're getting ready to do casting calls, so if it's something you've ever been wanting to do where you are interested in jumping on a live stream for a couple hours and running around with your friends playing D&D, cop in on Discord, let us know, and we'll get you in on the running. Until then, the tavern is closed, the door has been shut, the tale has ended. And for this evening, another wonderful tale has scripted itself into the walls of the Mythweaver's Respite. And for all of our wonderful friends out there, may you have a wonderful evening, tell all your tales, and we'll see you guys on Sunday. Have a good evening.